Shakespeare's Histories, The Queen's Storm, Episode 2. Skirmishes between France and England have continued for years. Though Charles the Dauphin has claimed the crown of France, the English refuse to recognize his title. Joan of Arc bolsters the French in their bid to regain their homeland. The English forces continue to be a threat, however, led by the legendary soldier Sir John Talbot. In England, a new generation of politicians and soldiers seek power and debate what course to take in France. The Duchess of Somerset and William de la Pole, the Earl of Suffolk, both military veterans, prefer to pursue peace. Richard Plantagenet, a disgraced nobleman, advocates for a policy of aggression. Rancor grows between the two sides.
Great lords and gentlemen, what means this silence? Dare no one answer in a case of truth?
Within the temple hall we were too loud. The garden here is more convenient.
Then say at once if I maintained the truth or else was wrangling Somerset in the error.
Faith, I have been a truant in the law, and never yet could frame my will to it, and therefore frame the law unto my will.
Judge you, my Lady Warwick, then, between us.
I have perhaps some shallow spirit of judgment, but in these nice, sharp quillets of the law, good faith, I am no wiser than a doll.
Tut, tut, here is a mannerly forbearance. The truth appears so naked on my side that any purblind eye may find it out.
And on my side it is so well apparelled, so clear, so shining, and so evident that it will glimmer through a blind man's eye.
Since you are tongue-tied and so loath to speak, in dumb significance proclaim your thoughts. Let all true-born ladies and gentlemen that stand upon the honor of their birth, if they suppose that I have pleaded truth, from off this briar pluck a white rose with me.
Let any that is no coward nor no flatterer, but dare maintain the party of the truth, pluck a red rose from off this thorn with me.
I love no colors, and without all color of base insinuating flattery, I pluck this white rose with Plantagenet.
I pluck this red rose with young Somerset, and say withal, I think she held the right.
Stay, you lords and ladies, and pluck no more till you conclude that you, upon whose side the fewest roses are cropped from the tree, shall yield the other in the right opinion.
Good Mistress Vernon, it is well objected. If I have fewest, I subscribe in silence.
And I.
Then for the truth and plainness of the case, I pluck this pale and maiden blossom here, giving my verdict on the white rose side.
Now, Somerset, where is your argument?
Here in my scabbard, meditating that shall dye your white rose in a bloody red.
Now by this maiden blossom in my hand, I scorn thee and thy fashion, peevish pest.
Turn not thy scorns this way, Plantagenet.
Proud Pole, I will and scorn both her and thee.
I'll turn my part thereof into thy throat.
Away, away, good William de la Pole. We grace the yeoman by conversing with him.
No, by God's will, thou wrong'st him, Somerset. His grandfather was Lionel, Duke of Clarence, third son to the 3rd Edward, King of England. Spring crestless yeoman from so deep a root?
Was not thy father, Richard, Earl of Cambridge, for treason executed in our late king's days? And by his treason standst not thou attainted, corrupted, and exempt from ancient gentry? His trespass yet lives guilty in thy blood, and till thou be restored, thou art a yeoman.
My father was attached, not attainted. Condemned to die for treason, but no traitor, and that I'll prove on better kind than Somerset. Were growing time once ripened to my will. Look to it well, and say you are well warned.
Ah, thou shalt find us ready for thee still, and know us by these colors for thy foes. For these, my friends, in spite of thee shall wear.
And by my soul, this pale and angry rose, as cognizance of my blood-drinking hate, will I forever and my faction wear, until it wither with me to my grave, or flourish to the height of my degree.
Go forward, and be choked with thy ambition, and so farewell, until I meet thee next.
Have with thee, Pole. Farewell, ambitious Richard.
How I am braved, and must perforce endure it.
This blot that they object against your house shall be wiped out in the next Parliament, called for the truce of Winchester and Gloucester. And if thou be not then created York, I will not live to be accounted Warwick. And here I prophesy, this brawl today, grown to this faction in the Temple Garden, shall send between the red rose and the white 1,000 souls to death and deadly night.
Good Mistress Vernon, I am bound to you, that you on my behalf would pluck a flower.
In your behalf, still will I wear the same.
Thanks, gentle friends. Come, let us three to dinner. I dare say this quarrel will drink blood another day.
Richard Plantagenet's uncle, Edmund Mortimer, is held at the Tower of London. He has spent most of his life confined there ever since joining with the Percys in rebellion against Henry IV.
Kind keeper of my weak decaying age, let dying Mortimer here rest himself. So fare my limbs with long imprisonment, swift-winged with desire to get a grave, as witting I no other comfort have. But tell me, keeper, will my nephew come?
Richard Plantagenet, my lord, will come. We sent unto the temple unto his chamber, and answer was returned that he will come.
Enough. My soul shall then be satisfied. Poor gentleman, his wrong doth equal mine. Since Henry Monmouth first began to reign, before whose glory I was great in arms, this loathsome sequestration have I had, and e'en since then hath Richard been obscured, deprived of honour and inheritance.
My lord, your loving nephew now is come.
Aye, noble uncle, thus ignobly used, your nephew, late despised Richard, comes.
Direct mine arms, I may embrace his neck, and in his bosom spend my latter gasp. And now declare, sweet stem from York's great stock, why didst thou say of late thou wert despised?
First lean thine aged back against mine arm, and in that ease I'll tell thee my disease. This day, in argument upon a case, some words there grew twixt Somerset and me, among which terms she used her lavish tongue, and did upbraid me with my father's death, which obloquy set bars before my tongue, else with the like I had requited her. Therefore, good uncle, for my father's sake, in honour of a true Plantagenet, and for alliance sake, declare the cause my father, Earl of Cambridge, lost his head.
That cause, fair nephew, that imprisoned me, and hath detained me all my flowering youth within a loathsome dungeon there to pine, was cursed instrument of his decease.
Discover more at large what cause that was, for I am ignorant and cannot guess.
I will, if that my fading breath permit, and death approach not ere my tale be done. Henry IV, grandfather to this king, deposed his cousin Richard, Edward's son, the first begotten and the lawful heir of Edward King, the third of that descent, during whose reign the Percys of the north, finding his usurpation most unjust, endeavoured my advancement to the throne. The reason moved these warlike lords to this was for that, young Richard thus removed, leaving no heir begotten of his body, I was the next by birth and parentage. For by my mother I derived am from Lionel, Duke of Clarence, third son to King Edward III, whereas Henry from John of Gaunt doth bring his pedigree, being but fourth of that heroic line. But mark, as in this haughty great attempt they laboured to plant the rightful heir, I lost my liberty, and they their lives. Long after this, when Henry V, succeeding his father Bolingbroke, did reign, thy father, Earl of Cambridge then, derived from famous Edmund Langley, Duke of York, marrying my sister that thy mother was, again in pity of my hard distress, levied an army, meaning to redeem and have installed me in the diadem. But as the rest, so fell that noble Earl and was beheaded. Thus the Mortimers, in whom the title rested, were suppressed.
Of which, my lord, your honour is the last.
True, and thou seest that I no issue have, and that my fainting words do warrant death. Thou art my heir, the rest I wish thee gather. But yet be wary in thy studious care. Strong fixed is the house of Lancaster, and like a mountain not to be removed. But now thy uncle is removing hence, as princes do their courts when they are cloyed with long continuance in a settled place.
Oh, uncle, would some part of my young years might but redeem the passage of your age.
Thou dost then wrong me, as that slaughterer doth, which giveth many wounds when one will kill. And so farewell, and fair be all thy hopes, and prosperous be thy life in peace and war.
And peace, no war, befall thy parting soul. Here dies the dusky torch of Mortimer, choked with ambition of the meaner sort. And for those wrongs, those bitter injuries, which Somerset hath offered to my house, I doubt not but with honour to redress. And therefore haste I to the Parliament, either to be restored to my blood, or make mine ill the advantage of my good.
Now an adolescent, King Henry VI has started performing royal duties, though the stress of leading during such a factious time has already begun to weigh on him. He presides over Parliament, which meets to settle an argument between Humphrey the Duke of Gloucester and Henry Beaufort the Bishop of Winchester. Despite the passage of over a decade, their feud has continued.
Humphrey of Gloucester, if thou canst accuse, or aught intends to lay unto my charge, do it without invention, suddenly, as I with sudden and extemporal speech purpose to answer what thou canst object.
Presumptuous priest, this place commands my patience, or thou shouldst find thou hast dishonored me. Thou art a most pernicious usurer, froward by nature, enemy to peace, lascivious, wanton, more than well beseems a man of thy profession and degree. Oh, and for thy treachery, what's more manifest than that thou lay'st a trap to take my life, as well at London Bridge as at the Tower? Besides, I fear me, if thy thoughts were sifted, the king, thy sovereign, is not quite exempt from envious malice of thy swelling heart.
Gloucester, I do defy thee! Lords, vouchsafe to give me hearing what I shall reply. If I were covetous, ambitious, or perverse as he will have me, how am I so poor?
Oh!
Or how hapsid I seek not to advance or raise myself, but keep my wonted calling? No, my good lords, it is not that offends. It is not that hath incensed the Duke. It is because no one should sway but he. No one but he should be about the king, and that engenders thunder in his breast and makes him roar these accusations forth. But he shall know I am as good
As good, thou bastard of my grandfather!
My lordly sir, for what are you, I pray, but one imperious in another's throne?
Am I not protector, saucy
And
priest?
am I not a prelate of the church?
Yes, as an outlaw in a castle keeps, and useth it to patronage his theft!
Unreverent Gloucester!
Methinks his grace should be religious, and know the office that belongs to such.
Methinks his lordship should be humbler. It fitteth not a prelate so to plead.
Yes, when his holy state is touched so near.
State holy or unhallowed, what of that? Is not his grace protector to the king?
Uncles of Gloucester and of Winchester, I would prevail, if prayers might prevail, to join your hearts in love and amity. Oh, what a scandal is it to our crown that two such noble peers as you should jar. Believe me, lords, my tender years can tell civil dissension is a viperous worm that gnaws the bowels of the Commonwealth. What tumult's this?
An uproar I dare warrant, begun through malice of the bishop's rout.
Oh, my good lords and virtuous Henry, pity the city of London, pity us! The bishop and the Duke of Gloucester's hordes, forbidden late to carry any weapon, have filled their pockets full of pebble stones and pounce so fast at one another's pate that many have their giddy brains knocked out. Our windows are broke down in every street, and we, for fear, compelled to shut our
We
shops.
charge you on allegiance to ourself, to hold your slaughtering hands and keep the peace. Pray, Uncle Gloucester, mitigate this strife.
Nay, if we be forbidden stones, we'll fall to it with our teeth.
Do what you dare. We are as resolute.
You of my household, leave this peevish broil and set this unjustified aside.
How this discord doth afflict my soul. Can you, my lord of Winchester, behold my sighs and tears and will not once relent?
Yield, my lord protector. Yield, Winchester. Except you mean with obstinate repulse to slay your sovereign and destroy the realm. You see what mischief and what murder, too, hath been enacted through your enmity.
He shall submit, or I will never yield.
Compassion on the king commands me stoop. I would see his heart out ere the priest should ever get that privilege of me.
Behold, my lord of Winchester, the duke hath banished moody, discontented fury. Why look you still so stern and tragical?
Here, Winchester, I offer thee my hand.
Fie, Uncle Beaufort. I have heard you preach that malice was a great and grievous sin. And will you not maintain the thing you teach, but prove a chief offender in the same?
For shame, my lord of Winchester, relent. What shall a child instruct you what to do?
Well, Duke of Gloucester, I will yield to thee. Love for thy love, and hand for hand I give.
Aye, but I fear me with a hollow heart. See here, my friends and loving countrymen. This token serveth for a flag of truce betwixt ourselves and all our followers. So help me God as I dissemble not.
So help me God, as I intended not.
Oh, loving uncle, kind Duke of Gloucester, how joyful am I made by this contract. Away, my masters, trouble us no more, but join in friendship as your lords have done.
Neighbor, give me thy hand, we'll make a peace anon.
King Henry.
Aye, to our homes. I do for this country.
Accept this scroll, most gracious sovereign, which in the right of Richard Plantagenet we do exhibit to your majesty.
Well urged, my lady Warwick. For sweet prince, and if your grace mark every circumstance, you have great reason to do Richard right.
Let Richard be restored to his blood, so shall his father's wrongs be recompensed.
As will the rest, so willeth Winchester.
And these occasions, uncle, are of force. Therefore, my loving lords, our pleasure is that Richard be restored to his blood. If Richard will be true, not that alone, but all the whole inheritance I give that doth belong unto the house of York, from whence you spring by lineal descent.
Thy humble servant vows obedience and humble service to the point of death.
Stoop then, and set your knee against my foot, and in reguerdon of that duty done, I gird thee with the valiant sword of York. Rise, Richard, like a true Plantagenet, and rise, created princely Duke of York.
Welcome,
high prince, the mighty Duke of York.
Perish, base prince, ignoble Duke of York.
Now will it best avail your majesty to cross the seas and to be crowned in France. The presence of a king engenders love amongst his subjects and his loyal friends, as it disanimates his enemies.
When Gloucester says the word, King Henry goes, for friendly counsel cuts off many foes.
Your ships already are in readiness.
Aye, we may march in England or in France, not seeing what is likely to ensue. This late dissension grown betwixt the peers burns under feigned ashes of forged love, and will at last break out into a flame. As festered members rot but by degree, till bones and flesh and sinews fall away, so will this base and envious discord breed. And now I fear that fatal prophecy, which in the time of Henry named the Fifth was in the mouth of every sucking babe, that Henry born at Monmouth should win all, and Henry born at Windsor should lose all, which is so plain that Exeter doth wish her days may finish ere that hapless time.
With domestic quarrels settled, King Henry and his advisors sailed to France to aid war efforts there. Due to Talbot's military leadership, the English still control territories northwest of Paris, including the city of Rouen, which Joan of Arc now seeks to liberate.
These are the city gates, the gates of Rouen, through which our policy must make a breach. Take heed. Be wary how you place your words. Talk like the vulgar sort of market men that come to gather money for their corn. If we have entrance, as I hope we shall, I'll by a sign give notice to our friends that Charles the Dauphin may encounter them.
Qui là?
Puissant les pauvres gens de France. Poor market folks that come to sell their corn.
Enter. Go in. The market bell is rung.
Achète la maize! La maize! La maize pour vous, madame. En peut-être, non?
Now, Grand, I'll shake thy bulwarks to the ground.
Saint-Denis bless this happy stratagem, and once again will sleep secure in Rouen.
Here entered Pucelle and her practicants.
Behold, this is the happy wedding torch that joineth Rouen unto her countrymen, but burning fatal to the Talbonites.
The beacon of our friend, the burning torch in yonder turret stands.
Now shine it like a comet of revenge, a prophet to the fall of all our foes.
Defer no time. Delays have dangerous ends. Enter and cry the Dauphin presently, and then do execution on the watch. The Dauphin!
France,
thou shalt rue this treason with thy tears, if Talbot but survive thy treachery. To serve that witch, that damned sorceress, hath wrought this hellish mischief unawares, that hardly we escaped the pride of France.
Good morrow, gallants. Want ye corn for bread? Do you like the taste?
Scoff on, vile fiend and shameless courtesan! I trust ere long to choke thee with thine own, and make thee curse the harvest of that corn!
Oh, your grace may starve, perhaps before that time.
Oh, let no words but deeds revenge this treason!
What will you do, good greybeard? Break a lance and run it till to death within a chair?
Foul fiend of France and hag of all despite, encompassed with thy lustful paramours, becomes it thee to taunt his valiant age, and twit with cowardice a man half dead? Damsel, I'll have a bout with you again, or else let Talbot perish with this shame.
Are you so hot, sir? Yet, Pucelle, hold thy peace. If Talbot do but thunder, rain will follow. Away, captains! Let's get us from the walls, for Talbot means no goodness by his looks. Goodbye, my lord! We came but to tell you that we are here.
Personne
And there will we be too ere it be long, or else reproach be Talbot's greatest fame. Thou, Burgundy, by honour of thy house, either to get the town again or die. And I, as sure as English Henry lives, and as his father here was conqueror, as sure as in this late betrayed town great Coeur de Lion's heart was buried, so sure I swear to get the town or die.
My vows are equal partners with thy vows.
But ere we go, regard this dying prince, the valiant Duke of Bedford. Come, my lord, we will bestow you in some better place.
Lord Talbot, do not so dishonour me. Here will I sit before the walls of ruin, and will be partner of your weal or woe.
Undaunted spirit in a dying breast, then be it so. Heavens, keep old Bedford safe. And now, no more ado, brave Burgundy, but gather we our forces out of hand and set upon our boasting enemy.
Now, quiet soul, depart when heaven please, for I have seen our enemies' overthrow. What is the trust or strength of foolish man? They that of late were daring with their scoffs are glad and fain by flight to save themselves.
Lost and recovered in a day again! This is a double honor, Burgundy. Yet heavens have glory for this victory.
Warlike and martial Talbot, Burgundy enshrines thee in his heart, and there erects thy noble deeds as valor's monuments.
Thanks, gentle Duke. But where is Pucelle now? Where's the bastard's braves and Charles, his gleeks? What, all a mort? Ruin hangs her head for grief that such a valiant company are fled. Now will we take some order in the town, placing therein some expert officers, and then depart to Paris to the king, for there young Henry with his nobles lie.
What wills Lord Talbot pleaseth Burgundy.
But yet before we go, let's not forget the noble Duke of Bedford, late deceased, but see his exequies fulfilled in ruin. A braver soldier never couched lance, a gentler heart did never sway in court. But kings and mightiest potentates must die, and that's the end of human misery.
Ecce liber fatorum, ecce liber sum.
Dismay not, princes, at this accident, nor grieve that Rouen is so recovered. Care is no cure, but rather corrosive for things that are not to be remedied. Let frantic Talbot triumph for a while, and like a peacock sweep along his tail. We'll pull his plumes and take away his train, if Dauphin and the rest will be but ruled.
We have been guided by thee hitherto, and of thy cunning had no diffidence. One sudden foil shall never breed distrust.
Search out thy wit for secret policies, and we will make thee famous through the world.
We'll set thy statue in some holy place and have thee reverenced like a blessed saint.
Then, thus it must be. This doth Jean devise. By fair persuasions mixed with sugared words, we will entice the Duke of Burgundy to leave the Talbot and to follow us.
Aye, Mary, sweeting, if we could do that, France were no place for Henry's warriors.
Your honor shall perceive how I will work to bring this matter to the wished end. Hark! By the sound of drum you may perceive their powers are marching unto Paris ward. There goes the Talbot with his colors spread and all the troops of English after him. Now in the rearward comes the Duke and his. Fortune in favor makes him lag behind. Summon a parley. We will talk with him.
A parley with the Duke of Burgundy.
Who craves a parley with the Burgundy?
Brave Burgundy, undoubted hope of France. Stay, let thy humble handmaid speak to thee. Look on thy country, look on fertile France, and see the cities and the towns defaced by wasting ruin of the cruel foe. As looks the mother on her lowly babe when death doth close his tender dying eyes. See the pining malady of France. Behold the wounds, the most unnatural wounds which thou thyself hast given her woeful breast. Oh, turn thy edged sword another way. Strike those that hurt, and hurt not those that help. One drop of blood drawn from thy country's bosom should grieve thee more than streams of foreign gore. Return thee, therefore, with a flood of tears, and wash away thy country's stained spots.
Either she hath bewitched me with her words, or nature makes me suddenly relent.
Besides, all French and France exclaims on thee, doubting thy birth and lawful progeny. Who join'st thou with, but with a lordly nation that will not trust thee but for profit's sake? When Talbot hath set footing once in France, and fashioned thee that instrument of ill, who then but English Henry will be lord, and thou be thrust out like a fugitive? See then, thou fight'st against thy countrymen, and join'st with them will be thy slaughtermen. Come, return, thou wandering lord. Charles and the rest will take thee in their arms.
I am vanquished. These haughty words of hers have battered me like roaring cannon shot, and made me almost yield upon my knees.
Forgive me, country, and sweet countrymen. My forces and my power of men are yours.
So farewell, Talbot. I'll no longer trust thee.
Done like a Frenchman, turn and turn again.
Welcome, brave Duke. Thy friendship makes us fresh,
and doth beget new courage in our breasts.
Pucelle hath bravely played her part in this, and doth deserve a coronet of gold.
Now let us on, my lords, and join our powers, and seek how we may prejudice the foe.
Triomphe pour la France!
Triomphe pour la France!
The addition of Burgundy and his forces significantly increases Charles's military strength. To send a message to the rebelling French citizens, the Duke of Gloucester orchestrates the crowning of Henry VI as King of France. Before the ceremony in Paris, Sir John Talbot presents himself to the young king.
My gracious prince and honourable peers, hearing of your arrival in this realm, I have a while given truce unto my wars to do my duty to my sovereign. In sign whereof, this arm that hath reclaimed to your obedience 50 fortresses, 12 cities, and 7 walled towns of strength, lets fall his sword before your highness' feet.
Is this the Lord Talbot, Uncle Gloucester, that hath so long been resident in France?
Yes, if it please your majesty, my liege.
Welcome, brave captain and victorious lord.
Victorious indeed.
My gracious sovereign, as I rode from Calais to haste unto your coronation, a letter was delivered to my hands, writ to your grace from the Duke of Burgundy.
What means his grace that he hath changed his style? No more but plain and bluntly to the king. Hath he forgot he is his sovereign? Or doth this churlish superscription portend some alteration in goodwill? What's here? I have, upon a special cause, moved with compassion of my country's wrack, together with the pitiful complaints of such as your oppression feeds upon, forsaken your pernicious faction, and joined with Charles, the rightful king of France. Oh, monstrous treachery! Can this be so?
What? Doth my uncle Burgundy revolt?
Oh, he doth, my lord, and is become your foe.
Why then, Lord Talbot there shall talk with him, and give him chastisement for this abuse. How say you, my lord? Are you not content?
Content, my liege? Yes, but that I am prevented, I should have begged I might have been employed.
Let him perceive how ill we brook his treason, and what offense it is to flout his friends. When I was young, as yet I am not old, I do remember how my father said, a stouter champion never handled sword. Long since we were resolved of your truth, your faithful service, and your toil in war. Yet never have you tasted our reward, or been regarded with so much as thanks, because till now we never saw your face. Therefore, stand up, and for these good deserts we here create you Earl of Shrewsbury. And in our coronation, take your place.
Oh. Well deserved. Well deserved, Talbot. Well done!
Lord Bishop, set the crown upon his head.
God save King Henry. Of that name, the sixth.
God save King Henry!
Grant me the combat, gracious sovereign.
And me, my lord, grant me the combat too.
He's my follower. Hear her, noble
And
prince.
this is mine, sweet Henry. Favor him.
Base villains.
No,
These
leave
my
these
lord.
And give them leave to speak. Say, gentle friends, what makes you thus exclaim, and wherefore crave you combat, or with whom?
With him, my lord, for he hath done me wrong.
And I with her, for she hath done me wrong.
What is that wrong whereof you both complain? First let me know, and then I'll answer you.
Well, crossing the sea from England into France, this woman here with envious carping tongue upbraided me about the rose I wear, saying the sanguine color of the leaves did represent my lady's blushing cheeks, when stubbornly she did repugn the truth about a certain question in the law, argued betwixt the Duke of York and her, with other vile and ignominious terms, in confutation of which rude reproach, and in defense of my lady's worthiness, I crave the benefit of law of art.
And that is my petition, noble lord. For though he seem with foraged quaint conceit to set a gloss upon his bold intent, yet know, my lord, I was provoked by him, and he first took exceptions at this badge, pronouncing that the paleness of this flower betrayed the faintness of my Lord York's heart.
Will not this malice, Somerset, be left?
Your private grudge, my lord of York, will out, though ne'er so cunningly you smother it.
Oh,
you had just...
Good Lord, what madness rules in brain-sick kind, and for so slight and frivolous a cause such factious emulation shall arise. Good cousins both of York and Somerset, quiet yourselves, I pray, and be at peace.
Let this dissension first be tried by fight, and then your highness shall command a peace.
The quarrel toucheth none but us alone. Betwixt ourselves let us decide it then.
There is my pledge. Accept it, Somerset.
Oof, nay, let it rest where it began at first.
Confirm it so, mine honorable lady.
Confirm it so? Oh, confounded be your strife, and perish you with your audacious prate. Presumptuous vassals, are you not ashamed with this immodest, clamorous outrage to trouble and disturb the king and us? And you, my lords, methinks you do not well to bear with their perverse objections, much less to take occasion from their mouths to raise a mutiny betwixt yourselves. Let me persuade you, take a better course.
It grieves his highness. Good, my lords, be friends.
Come hither, you that would be combatants. Henceforth I charge you, as you love our favor, quite to forget this quarrel and the cause. And you, my lords, remember where we are. In France, amongst a fickle, wavering nation, if they perceive dissension in our looks, and that within ourselves we disagree, how will their grudging stomachs be provoked to willful disobedience and rebel? Oh, think upon the conquest of my father, my tender years, and let us not forgo that for a trifle that was bought with blood. Let me be umpire in this doubtful strife. I see no reason if I wear this red rose that anyone should therefore be suspicious I'm more inclined to Somerset than York. Both are my kinsfolk, and I love them both. And therefore, as we hither came in peace, so let us still continue peace and love. Cousin of York, we institute your grace to be our regent in these parts of France. And, good my lady Somerset, unite your troops of cavalry with his bands of foot. And like true subjects, fruit of your progenitors, go cheerfully together and digest your angry choler on your enemies. Ourself, my Lord Protector, and the rest, after some respite, will return to Calais. From thence to England, where I hope ere long to be presented by your victories with Charles, Alanson, and that traitorous rout.
My Lord of York, I promise you the king prettily, methought, did play the orator.
And so he did, but yet I like it not, in that he wears the badge of Somerset.
Tush, that was but his fancy. Blame him not. I dare presume, sweet prince, he thought no harm.
And if I thought he did, but let it rest. Other affairs must now be managed.
Well didst thou, Richard, to suppress thy voice. For had the passions of thy heart burst out, I fear we should have seen deciphered there more rancorous spite, more furious raging broils than yet can be imagined or supposed. But howsoe'er, no simple one that sees this jarring discord of nobility, this factious bandying of their favourites, but sees it doth presage some ill event. 'Tis much when sceptres are in children's hands, but more when envy breeds unkind division. There comes the ruin. There begins confusion.
You've been listening to Shakespeare's Histories, Season 2, The Queen's Storm, presented by Brave Spirits Theatre, directed by Charlene V. Smith. This recording is produced and edited by Patrick Flynn.